Hey guys, it's Daniel with Boss C351's Productions. Today we're working on our 2007 Ford F-150 with the dreaded 5.4 3-valve engine. Now this particular truck we picked up here not too long ago from one of our sons out of Little Rock, Arkansas. And the problem with the truck was it's got the 5.4, the timing chain guides, pretty much everything that goes wrong inside the engine on one of these trucks went wrong. And it would barely idle, it would barely run, but I was able to drive it almost 300 miles from Little Rock, Arkansas to where we live here in Northeast Texas. Now today's problem, we have a no crank, no start issue with the truck. It just started up here right before Christmas. And of course around holiday times or when you really need the truck is when stuff starts going wrong. So when you get in the truck, you turn the key, you hear click, and then that's it. So what we're going to do is we're going to look and I'm going to show you what to listen for to determine what exactly the problem is. Truck, and we've got to start the truck. This is what we hear. I turned the ignition key 3 times and you heard click, click, click. Next, let's get inside the passenger side door where I've got the kick panel out. Now, as you can see, again, I have the kick panel out in the passenger side front where it exposes the relays and fuses for the truck. Now, once again, I'm going to try to start the truck and just listen. That was 3 times. Now, I can hear it. I'm not sure if you can hear it on the video, but you can hear the starter relay inside that box click each time I hit the key. So essentially what that's telling me is everything up to the relay is working. More than likely what has happened is that the starter solenoid has gone bad and it's not triggering the starter to go ahead and start the truck. More than likely because this is what we consider a northern truck, because like in the area that it comes from gets a lot of snow and ice, and of course they spray the roads down with a lot of salt and stuff to get the ice to melt. That in turn starts causing corrosion on the underside of the truck. And there is evidence underneath the truck. There is, the beginnings of, you can see where the rust had already begun to eat away at the frame and such. So what we're going to do now is we're going to raise the truck and look at the starter to see what kind of condition the starter is in. And we're going to disconnect the battery, and then we're going to remove the starter and go ahead and replace it. Okay, so we're under the truck and there's our starter and our starter solenoid. And what I've got a screwdriver that's bent. You might be able to go to the store, get your little jump start switch system with a couple of wires. You can do this with a trigger switch. And I'm gonna go ahead, the small wire and the wire coming in from the battery, I'm gonna jump them and see if it turns the engine over. So now that means our starter is screwed. It will not engage and turn the motor over. So that's what the problem is on the truck. Alright, so to get the starter out, we're going to have to take this wire off, the smaller wire, which is right here. That's your signal wire from your ignition. And then we're going to have to take off this ground wire back here and take the bolts out for the starter to get it out. Alright guys, I got the starter out. Here's the new one. Now, I didn't show taking the bolts out to get the starter out. Normally I would do that. That's just 3 bolts. But I do want to mention something to you about this. Your bottom 2 bolts are easy to get out. This one here and this one down here. Those are pretty easy to get out. One's a studded bolt, the other's just a regular bolt. The 3rd bolt, on the other hand, is not that easy to get out. In fact, if you're, a Ford fan like me, you get pretty regularly, you get used to fighting the engineer on this stuff. Now, what they did, they put a bolt up here, and there's no way forward of the starter assembly to get in to get it out. There's no way above the starter assembly to get it out. So essentially, you have to put together 2 short extensions and I'd say a deep socket, or 1 long extension with a shallow socket together on a cordless 3/8 ratchet to get it out. And I can tell you now, it was not fun getting this 3rd bolt out. But these are the things we have to deal with a lot of times on our Fords when we work on them. It's essentially fighting the engineer who designed this stuff. Now, these are some of the tools I suggest that you try to pick up to do this job. It's a 3/8 cordless ratchet. I've got several lengths of extensions, some I put together. But you got essentially 3 lengths of extensions, and then you got a shallow and a deep socket. And I'm going to use this as an example. Your starter essentially sits in here like that, and you can see where that top bolt falls right there. So essentially what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to come up and maneuver around the front to get into it. Sometimes with a longer socket, start out with a longer socket. As it comes out, change out to a shallow socket, because if you don't, the head of your tool is going to be hitting the frame and it's going to jam up. So just with a little trial and error, you're going to be able to get that bolt out. To get it back in, that's going to be another story. You're going to have to fish it in with your finger and then try to get the socket on the extension and start the bolt by hand first so you don't cross thread it. Then reach up in there with your ratchet and go ahead and tighten it up. Alright guys, we have the new starter installed. Got that hard bolt back in, got it tight, got the wires hooked up. So all we need to do now is let the truck down, hook up the negative terminal back to our battery, and fire the truck up. Let's see what happens. Okay, now for the moment of truth. Okay, that was our problem. We had a bad starter solenoid that would not engage the starter. This is Daniel with Boss C 351's Productions. I really appreciate you guys watching my videos. Please like and subscribe to my channel so I can bring you more stuff like this in the future. Now, if you look down in the video comment section, video description, I have links to various parts like shown in this video, plus tools shown in this video and other videos that I've made over time. And you can get them at deep discount prices, a lot of times cheaper than you get in your local auto parts store. Once again, thank you for watching my videos. See you next time.